Yo, 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 and welcome to another episode of Roy's podcast. I'm Roy Spencer.
And I'm Johnny Rodriguez, and this is Roy's podcast. So today we got a very special guest, someone from the Outcast Academy, or you could even say the co-founder of the Outcast Academy, which is an NFT narrative collection. So I saw that on the website. What exactly does that mean? Just real quick.
That means that our utility is entertainment driven. And the whole collection serves the purpose of basically giving you an entry in a rich narrative world, which is, in our case, a high school world. So we are inspired by The Breakfast Club and like
Oh,
classic
I
high
love
school
that.
movies
Classics.
and allow people to be a character in that world. So the NFT serves as basically a representation of your character, and the whole experience, and provides the whole experience that comes with it.
So, are you able to mint like a
Wait, wait,
custom
wait.
NFT for
So
what?
this is Anna. This is Anna, rarebitch.sol.
Yeah, so for the project, for what you get in the mint, are you able to pick what you get, or is it by random draw?
You just stumbled on a really interesting question, actually. So, of course, you can pick on a secondary market. We're not going to tell you what archetype you are going to be, right? Because we are dividing our students up into 5 archetypes:
Mm-hmm.
the prep, the jock, the nerd, the artist, the rebel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the last time we spoke, you guys were like, "Oh, I'm totally like a rebel. I'm totally like a nerd."
Yeah,
Was that
that's
yeah?
me. That was the rebel. Oh yeah.
Totally makes sense. Now seeing you like face to face makes sense that you picked that. So we are actually enabling kind of like in Harry Potter when you had that sorting ceremony, right? And you put the hat on and you're sorted into different houses. We want to create a similar feeling with a sorting ceremony that happens basically like right before mint, that you fill out you go through like a test, a personality test that tells you which archetype you are.
Wait,
But
a
of
personality test?
Yes, which is like super fun
Yeah.
and high school themed. But yeah, we're releasing it right before mint.
That's
So
dope.
with like these characters that you end up getting, what do you do with them? Like, how does this all pull together?
Yeah, so I think it's easier once you join the Discord to like really understand what's going on. But I can tell you, as soon as you join and start interacting, you will notice that there is actual characters that are interacting with you. So there is a full world of teachers, each of them, having a different personality, having different teachers' pets that are their favorites. You can, earn
Mm.
your points by like, or be hated by them. You have our principal character, who right now is the face of the academy, Mr. Limerick. I think you guys saw him when I sent him to
Yeah.
you.
Oh yeah.
Um, so these character, janitor, who is always there, very grumpy, cleaning up all the mess, like FUD and
Mm-hmm.
just like spam
Oh yeah.
comments. So this world that you're entering is basically bare, and the bare bones are created, but now it's up to the community to build the lore, and together by interacting with each other actually create the school's lore that we are manifesting in real time.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's like that's dope. I've never even thought about it. But you explained it very well. I mean,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I
because
do
like
have a
with
question about the points though. You mentioned that we'd be picking up points. How does that help?
I can tell you so much that basically the incentive to participate in narrative drops. So like every week there is going to be a major like drama happening, right? Like there is
Mm-hmm.
so this week Mr. Limerick has some beef with who's very authoritarian and like disciplinarian, very much like pro law and order, has beef with a teacher that is very much like pro chaos and like be shit stirrers.
Mm-hmm.
And
mm,
we basically instigated people to pick sides and like really show support for each side. Like, are you more of an, you know, conformist, or are you
yeah,
pro rebellion? And that is an interesting emotional question that we are debating
I
like this
love that.
week.
When you pick a side, like where does that take you along the role? Or are these designated roles that you have to play?
Every week, just like you had in high school, right? Like you, one week
It
we went through
changes
a
with
phase.
life.
Exactly. One
Ah,
week you're friends with, I don't know, the cool kids that are smoking weed in like the parking lot. The other week you're kind of feeling like, ah, that's lame. I'll rather like study
mhm.
and be with the nerds. So you can, that world is like yours
And
basically.
that's like a story mode that you play out, or is that like through a
I
chat?
think of it like this. It's like playing Sims,
Hmm.
but like it's like status, just like real life, just
Oh,
Discord
wow.
like shit. So like
So,
life within
like, does the
Discord.
game go on within the Discord, or is this like a Sims game that you play out?
So we are not game developers, and for now, probably not gonna be. That's just not our strong suit. So we're not gonna even promise that. Right now, it is on Discord. So yes, you basically are role playing with chat and with voice whenever we have
Hmm.
like voice interactivity. And unfortunately right now, like on Discord, it's not an ideal place to host an experience like that. Like we totally understand that's like a beginning. What we learned, if we learned anything in the last 2 years since the company started, we weren't always in the NFT space. If you learned one thing, then that emotional connectivity and being immersed in a story is not necessarily tied to does you can create immersion basically with text as well, like with simple chat, and with audio, and that is very effective already for a lot of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and that's not very. See, I feel like it's something that I've never even thought about. Really, I've never thought about having a life within Discord, but it's role playing. Like it's a role playing life, obviously, but like it's
Hmm.
actually happening, like just how high school did, which is kind of crazy. And I've seen a lot of positive comments and responses to this. Shout out Sapphire. I know she really loves this project, and I want to kind of ask you a little bit about like each one of the jocks, the artists. What are their like attributes? What do they do? What's the
Yeah,
difference?
great question.
We're not opposed, and we are currently thinking about giving each of them like a unique advantage, basically,
Mhm.
right? So we were experimenting in the beginning with very even clear advantages. Like, for example, only the preps are the ones who are long term going to be able to vote, right? Or the jocks, whenever we have sports tournaments, will be the one that are having like always the most advantage, right? But ultimately, we decided that at first, those are going to be basically like all equal. So you have
Mhm.
no incentive to like pick one over the other. That creates like strange incentives with rarity and with yeah, that we just want to avoid at first. So it is just for the fun of belonging to a tribe, belonging to a an archetype, and bonding with your archetype and playing out that archetype. So the fun of it that we see currently is people picking an archetype that like an alt persona that they have never been, for example. So like a shy person, that had like one experience actually in high school, is now picking out a completely different character and is embracing their degen mode. And that is
Right.
and we see that people experience that as like a very freeing thing, and vice versa, right?
Definitely.
What I will say though is that we are going to incentivize people to create actual friendships between each other and even between archetypes, which will be rewarded higher than just being alone, alone in the
Yeah,
whole
Just a
ecosystem.
loser,
and that's
a
like
lame.
awarded with like points. Like you get points. Or
So the whole format of how it will like shake out with either it will be points or it will be like ranks that you're like ranking up, or that it will be just two winners, 2 or 3 winners, per week, that have like the
Mhm.
biggest contribution. The rest will get like small participatory like just awards,
Yeah.
and that these awards can be exchanged later for something much more like tangible and actually monetary. That is like
Oh,
the
sweet.
That's sweet.
the utility that we're
Yeah. So what's like the
building.
top people getting? Like the ranks like one, two, and three.
So look, because we are pre-mint, we're going to experiment with that. Like after we are
Nice.
minting and you have actually on-chain voting for like lore,
Hmm.
it's going to be actually very interesting for us to see what type of award will incentivize people to like do more or less. Right now, it will be the way that we're thinking about it is trophies, airdrops that are like sickly, like so amazingly designed. but that might change. That might very much change. That people will want different awards and different like exchange points. But um, what we see also happening in the ecosystem, and who we are very inspired by, is the DeGods that
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
called, when they were like at 3 or 4 Sol. We thankfully bought in at that
Dang.
time.
Oh,
Damn.
Um,
nice. Oh
Wow.
yeah, I saw D-God retweeted one of our tweets
that
about you coming
was,
on the show.
yeah, that was my co-founder and husband. That was,
Oh
Nice.
wow,
What a guy.
that's sick. He's the other co-founder. Oh my gosh,
yes,
that's so
yes,
sick.
Yeah, that's sweet.
husband and wife
Relationship goals.
team. I would
Yeah.
recommend and not recommend. Like, you gotta be crazy to do that.
I mean, it seems to be working so far.
Yeah.
Deep sigh, but yes.
What is like would you say the objective is of the game? Is it to kind of rank up and get like the most like trophies and be awarded, or what would you say the goal is?
No, this is like more like almost the gamification play along the big goal that this universe represents, which is we are the first IP universe that is completely community shaped and on the blockchain. So basically, what this represents is a completely new format how entertainment is even created, how you can take intellectual property and not in the traditional sense where like there is writers and like professional writers, and there's like a writers room, and then there are studio execs that try to read the market, like what the market wants, and then put some budget towards it. It's getting produced, only a couple people actually hold the profit. If the movie or whatever the IP is successful, and getting more and more popular, then uh, the royalties are only going towards like a certain amount of people. But now with Web3, and specifically with the shift in the ownership economy that represents, you are now allowing fans to actually be rewarded for their fandom. Because
Yeah.
who is rewarded nowadays if you're like a Star Wars fan and you're like going to Comic Con and you're like completely in that gear, right? And you are
Right.
creating
Mhm.
these Facebook groups that are like beloved and
It's so true.
increasing the value of that IP actually. Are the
Mhm.
studios ever rewarding you for that? No. If you're
Right.
if you're one of the first 100 fans, or like first 1,000 fans, you're not rewarded for even like being the first ones that actually spread the word. So
Mm-hmm.
Web3 now represents a unique opportunity to be rewarded as an financially,
Mhm.
and being verified that you were one of the first ones that like knew about this IP universe and like build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
So that is interesting to us because studios right now, traditionally in Hollywood, are not interested sharing profits and sharing even the creation of the content with their fans, and
Right.
we're experimenting with that and see what happens.
That's
Right
awesome.
on.
And
Yeah. That's
I know you guys use Solana as the
Hmm.
blockchain. I noticed. I mean, we love Solana as well. Because
Solana
we like,
gang.
yeah, Solana gang. Because you can like, it's just so user friendly, and also there is a big emphasis on communities and DAOs. So are you guys planning on setting up like a treasury or anything, like in order to set up the rewards, kind of like how Meebit's DAO, if you know who they are,
Yeah,
in Ethereum.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Look, because we are venture backed, there is a very different sense for us with money and with like our generosity. I think is different, and like I
Yeah.
would say bigger in
Mhm.
that regard, because we have investors that backed us with that believe in this vision as well, and the Outcast Academy, it happens to be just the first project and the first universe that we're building. And
Wow.
the reason for that is well, like why Outcast Academy is, it's a coming of age story. Everybody, regardless of their age, can relate to a coming of age story. Um, and a high school universe, we've all been through that. We've seen all the movies.
Hmm.
We can totally role play in that. It's very natural to us and easy. and also just like gives so much endless possibilities for like storytelling, for like characters you can introduce. So it was
Yeah.
just a very clear, like a no-brainer for us to go for that. But
I was just thinking like
um
this is
yeah.
going to be amazing for the lore. Like there's going to be
Mhm.
some really good lore coming out of this.
Yes, people are so creative. Like right now we are pre-mint, and we still already see a very like a small but invested community. I'm so amazed every day. I'm like waking up and people are creating videos,
Yeah.
creating
Yeah.
like artwork, and I'm just like that's exactly what we want to achieve. So that means that we're doing something right with the way that characters interact with you, and people are just having fun in the Discord, and they know like when they write a message they'll get a snarky response from like the janitor or like
Yeah.
a teacher, you
I
know.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How could I, like, say if I wanted to be a teacher, how would I become a teacher? Or like, is there a way for me to take the principal's job or something like
Ooh.
that?
You want to
Ooh.
overthrow the principal?
I want to have
Oh.
a coup. Yes.
Yeah.
Aren't you the rebel actually in this equation?
No, I'm the artist.
Got it, got it. So for now, the way that we've designed it is that there was a very clear hierarchy, like intended for, there's teachers and like a principal that is there are characters cast by us, um, so that actually have a face, and we produce content with.
Oh, that's
But
sweet.
at the same time, what speaks against having transfer teachers, or just like what are they called again, teachers that are
Substitute.
substitute
Yeah.
teachers, they're just like there for a semester. It can be like a big personality, like a can be a celebrity, can be an
Yeah.
influencer, can be anyone who the community votes on. Like we want to learn from that person, why not?
Right.
We're very open to that, because what the community ultimately decides on and what the lore is voted on, that's what we're going for, of course.
It's a great way to build your brand too for people who want to network and just kind of grow their own community. If you're forming these cliques and then like if you're hosting a space, for example, you all join, it would be fun and stuff. I don't know. That's also a really big benefit to this, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
That's so smart that you say that. I haven't even thought about it like in that way, that basically people can now, it's like a, if this works out, right, and works out the way that we're like working day and night towards, then you're
Hmm.
right, it is an extra platform to basically be like a student that like works his or her way up, and like there's always popular kids in school, right, that everybody just knows, like personalities
Yeah.
on Discord that
Yeah.
just everybody knows. So you're right, it is an interesting use case also for that value add, yeah.
I feel like that would be a huge use case, you know,
Yeah.
like that is ginormous. I didn't even think about it until I said it.
So with like the universes, I think that was like a really cool point. And you said that like this is just kind of like the first of like maybe many. Like, do you have any ideas, any sneak peeks on what you think might be coming in like the future?
We will see. I mean, the way that we see the Solana community, like what genre they're kind of like skewing towards is science fiction, right? Like you see the majority of NFT projects kind of being like very metaversey, very much like, I don't know, galactic geckos, right? Or
Hmm.
everybody has like lore that is very much like out of worldly and very science fiction-y. So
Tripping apes.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So everything is kind of like spacey and like trippy, and there is we are interested in that. But the success that we have seen beforehand, we've been the most successful when we were doing coming of age storytelling, and that was beforehand on TikTok, but that was still when we were able to entertain like immediately multiple million of people without a cent in marketing spend, and that was all in a genre of coming of age. So we were sticking to that at first for our first universe, to what we for sure know we're good at.
Gotcha. Wow. So this is how long have you guys been like working on just this entire project?
Yeah.
So the Outcast Academy, we raised the round end of February, raised a venture round. So basically, the company that is, the official, like how we are incorporated in Delaware,
Yeah.
you know, and how the company
Yeah.
was called before in the Web 2 version. It's called Forefront Media. Okay, so Forefront Media exists since 2020, basically during the pandemic. So my co-founder and I flew over to the US. He's from the US. I'm from Germany, and
Oh,
we,
nice.
yeah. Are you both locals from like here?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're Americans.
but I hear Germany is beautiful, so
Yeah.
I would recommend. It's also so cheap, like
yeah.
comparably.
Really?
I've been hearing that actually. Like right now
Wow.
is like the best time to go,
And isn't German chocolate like really good too?
Yes.
and the beer.
Yeah.
You do have better IPA culture. Like I have to,
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Big
like,
Mac's a big fan of that.
The
You
IPAs.
hooked it up. Yeah, the IPAs. Yeah.
Oh, sheesh.
You got me onto those. I like those. Those are great.
Yeah, the
Get you
IPAs are
get
really
you
good.
buzzing, you know.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
and German bread. But those are the only things that I'm missing from Germany, honestly. Like
What
almost the
about
only things.
Oktoberfest?
Ooh.
Ooh, I think you gotta go like once in your life, and then you're like good. But for that one time, you better go with like some OG Germans that like
Yeah.
know the spots.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So hit me up when you're like there next time, because I want to take my husband like once to Oktoberfest. He's like asking me since a long time. So if you're down, how about this
Yeah.
year? It's in September,
Wow.
That'd be
So
sick.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
actually
that'd be
sweet.
sick.
Yeah.
We can do a podcast from out there.
Yeah. So where are the spots to be in kind of Germany? You know?
So of course, like Berlin.
Oh yeah.
But if we're talking specifically Oktoberfest, like there's just like tents that like every beer company has their own, every brewery has their own tent, and some tents are just they have like a lot of hype, but actually nothing going on. If that isn't a metaphor for a lot of NFT projects, I don't know what is. So
Yeah.
and there's like a couple of like tents that are like smaller but are always so lit, and there's never like a big queue for them. You just have to know.
So when was and I want to get back on the project, but real quick, I want to ask you this: when was the last time you went to Germany to visit?
4 weeks ago
Oh
actually, and we
wow!
went. Yeah, I finally got the like allowance. The green card situation here is kind of like you can't leave the country until you like can prove that you actually like are in love with your husband. Like that's not a forced marriage.
Oh
Like
right,
this is not
Yeah.
like a rational marriage. And we finally were able to like leave, but we were talking about like the origin of the company, right? Like how long it existed. We totally derailed onto beer. um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're just goofs like that.
So I want to ask, like, in terms of the mint size, how
yeah.
many you're gonna have? Why'd you guys choose 5,000?
5 archetypes, 5,000
Makes
splits
sense.
up splits
Yep.
splits up perfectly in 1K each archetype. And because we are minting one class every semester, and at the same time burning the last class, because you exactly have 2 years that you're holding your student until it is burned in exchange for something valuable, which is an
Ooh.
entry to the new universe,
Ooh.
and other interesting incentives. So this project is also uniquely designed to not last. Like your experience, just like a
Interesting.
high school experience, is not lasting longer than 2 years, and that makes it good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That
makes
keeps it
sense.
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, you can like buy into the new classes, and they will have other privileges. Now you're an alumni, right? Like after
Oh
Hmm.
two
wow.
years, you're an alumni, so you have other privileges than like a freshman that is like
Yeah.
coming in, and
You could
um,
be a school donor. You know.
basically.
On the
Mhm.
archetypes of like what people can be, I remember hearing that there's like advantages and disadvantages. With that, is that like person by person specific based off the NFT, or is that going to be, if you're like a rebel, every rebel has like these like same abilities.
Yeah, so we're not doing that. I think I communicated. We're thinking about giving each archetype specific like utility that is unique. We decided against that. So to not create like strange like rarity incentives that all of a sudden one utility is more valuable than the other, and then creating that it's like all equal is unfair. So for you, the incentive for like uh, buying multiple and buying, for example, a rebel, a nerd, and let's say a prep, and having all of these is basically that you generate that you're able to have better rewards when you are a clique. Like the bigger like your friend group is that you are basically participating in lore in, the more rewards you're getting. So we actually encourage people to like get to know each other and actually create friendship groups that they're submitting to lore to, and have creative contribution to the lore. That is like one incentive to own multiple. But another one is just like it's hella fun. Like
Yeah.
I mean, PFP projects. Why are we owning like one over the other? It's like looking cool. It's a cool online persona that we got to like impersonate,
I, I
right?
yeah, I see what you're saying. I think for a lot of like what's going on with NFTs on Solana right now is like a big focus is on utility and being able to stake and stuff. But people will forget that there's so many different types of like the word NFT has now been like everyone thinks of it as like art and that's it. But like there's so much more, and so that I think what you guys are doing is really cool.
Thank
I
you.
Yeah, of course, and I think that in terms of like the networking part, that's like a huge selling point right there. If you can just form a clique like that, I think, I mean, like when I'm looking at it, that I hadn't thought about that until you kind of started describing it all. But I mean, that's how you can start growing your brand on Twitter with Twitter Spaces, which we all know is like a huge thing in Web3.
Yeah.
So
For sure. I'm not even mentioning that of course there will be staking. Like for people that are low effort, just like in school, you have like low effort people that still get through school. That's the staking people.
yeah,
Like for us, like that's the slackers, we call them. And then
Oh.
so they will have of course like lower rewards than people that are like overachievers that really want that are really like you know like wanting to get an A plus like every
right,
week. So of course you incentivize them differently, but I don't think just having staking is like a utility that is like it's just like it's a
right,
feature.
right.
If you don't
Hmm.
incentivize people to delist their NFTs, then I don't know, it's kind of like a given at this point, don't you think?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. I guess like
That's
one question that I'm having right now is like, if you buy multiple NFTs, a prep, like a jock and a rebel, can you have them interact like together and like be friends? Or
Of course.
okay, so like,
the
and then you can create lore together just by having like a few, you know?
Yeah, it's a very good question how you would do that with there is ways to have multiple Discord accounts, right? So
Yeah.
you can totally do that. It's kind of schizophrenic almost to, like talk to yourself like from different Discords. So
yeah.
but like kind of have like a
Yeah, you
monologue.
make a click.
Yeah,
You
just
make a
talking to
click with just
yourself.
you.
Oh, cool
Oh
shirt. Oh,
man.
you too. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. What are you gonna do
That's the
bro.
cl-
tonight?
Good swag, bro.
that's the click you're warned not to join when you
Yeah,
first get in on the project. The one man show.
yeah. The one man band.
What clique were you
Do you
in?
guys
Like, if you were to
go ahead?
describe like your high school experience, like what clique were you in?
I was in um I would say I guess the more popular people, but I hung out with like people from like I hung out with everyone, you know. I guess soccer was a big, because I played soccer, so I feel like soccer people were just
Yo,
in every group, so you were
he's just
just
being modest.
no shut
Johnny's the man.
no, I'm not. and that's even depressing to think about because now I'm doing a podcast in a closet, So I'm kidding.
It looks hella
But
cozy.
yeah,
I don't know, like what you
Yeah, it
have.
is cozy.
hey, you just nailed it on the head. That is the whole entire vibe of my apartment. I'm trying to make it cozy AF, So I got a candle going, I got Christmas lights, and then I got 2 cats. So can't get
You're a
much
cat
cozier than that.
person. Oh yeah, you're Lumpy
Yeah,
Cat. Of
Yeah.
yeah.
course.
That's where the name was inspired from. I have a fat cat, and he looks very lumpy when he lays down.
Do you guys know each other since high school? Because you speak like so highly of each other, like there's such a clear like bromance going on, but like so it's so great the friendship between you two. Do you know each other since high school?
Wait. You got to guess though. Do you think so or not?
Seeing how fast friendships progress in the Web3 space and how people really like deeply get to know each other, you guys could like, yes, you could be friends since childhood, or you could, if you told me you met like 6 months ago, I'd believe you. Like it's
Mm.
both ways.
We actually met like a few weeks ago.
Are you
Yeah, it's been
serious?
crazy. He Uber drove me.
Yeah.
And
No,
yeah, it's been
no.
great.
I'm
We've known
so
each other.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm so gullible. Like you guys can't do that. I would believe everything. Go ahead.
We've known each other since we were like, I don't know, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, very young. So we know each other pretty well.
Yeah. We
Really
played
well.
soccer together.
Yeah, it's that soccer community.
Yeah. Strong.
So you're actually jocks, both of you, kinda.
I mean,
I
in
feel
a
like I was
way.
kind of a stoner too. I was
Yeah.
like a mix.
And I
of
was
the vibe.
also like more of like a nerd. Like I
Yeah,
was
this guy's
just
a
on the
nerd.
grind, and I've always been a nerd, but now it's cool because like I
Yeah,
play with like fancy technology.
he's got a turtleneck too.
Yeah.
I love turtlenecks, dude.
Yeah. I actually got this today, so I was like, gotta throw this on.
You need a chain to put over it. You know
A
how
chain,
I'm
like
talking.
an iced out chain, like gold.
Yeah. Yes, a gold
Yeah,
one.
a
A gold
Jesus
one.
cross right there. I'm
A
seeing it
Jesus
now.
Christ.
Yeah, some swag.
In terms of the drama part aspect, I saw on your website. What is like that going to entail? And is it drama that you guys make as like the moderators, developers, or is it drama that's literally just like made?
Both. So, what you look, and that's like a take that is controversial in the interactive media space. Okay, but basically, what we learned over the last 2 years since the company started, and since we've been experimenting with interactive media and have had failures and successes both ways, we
Mm-hmm.
realized that people, except if they're gamers, hardcore gamers, but generally like normies, don't want to make too many choices and are actually, if you give them all the choices in the world, are going to be left overwhelmed and actually will churn from that experience. So you have to give an illusion of control, and you have to give an illusion of everything's possible, but you're still guiding people, so it's very natural for them to make the choices and not feel like overwhelmed, like where do I even start, because
Yeah.
we don't
Right.
want to stress people out. We're making all like so many decisions like daily,
Mm-hmm.
so making even more decisions when literally our entertainment habits in the last decades was leaning back on the couch, switching on the TV or like the computer, and just like relaxing. And that is like our entertainment experience, like by and large.
Yeah.
Or we have an entertainment experience like hard, like gamers do, which is they want to control everything, and there's not enough choices that they can make. So like world
Yeah.
building games, and so
Like
we
Minecraft.
exactly. Totally. So we are starting off with basically giving weekly prompts. So every Monday morning, right now at 7 a.m. PT, so 10 a.m. your time,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Limerick, Principal Limerick, is dropping a narrative prompt. So something
Ooh.
happened, okay, that is setting off the drama in the school, that is setting off the tone, the theme, everything for the week. And over the week, there is basically spontaneous interactions that we did not pre-write as writers, as a creative team. We couldn't foresee that people are going to go in this direction or the other, but we often can. So we can actually prepare interesting content that concludes exactly also where the community concludes, and sometimes we can't, and that's the beauty of our production model, which is like that.
Right.
Like we take something
It's
that
like
people said, like an inside joke, and we can turn it into actually like a
a thing.
manifestation, like
I
super
love
quick.
that.
And that's what we did on TikTok.
Yeah.
It took us, we could do from idea, from like pitch, somebody said it, in a meeting, to people are seeing it on TikTok. We were able to do that with sometimes less than 24 hours. So
Wow.
Wow.
it's like going like
That's
very quick for
crazy.
us.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Yeah.
That's like that's I mean, I would have never thought about it in such depth like that. But yeah, that's crazy. How much? I mean, if you're treating it like like a high school, but you're writing the story for it, but you kind of want the characters to find their own way or whatever. But you give them a little guidance. You're like God,
Yeah.
in a way. As long
If you
as you
believe
can't
in God, yes,
yeah, yeah, like just
for
the term,
sure,
like
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
So with all this like content being made, this has been probably like a crazy experience for you guys and like a wild ride. What would you say like has been like some of the keys through getting through it all?
You mean like specifically with the
yeah.
market crash and specifically with over the last couple
I
of
mean, not
weeks?
even that, but like you guys are probably like working your ass off.
Yeah,
So
but at the
like,
same time, we're not doing it since yesterday. So we thankfully have amazing like teammates that are just Hollywood professionals that can produce very scrappily and very fast. And the way that our Web 2 company worked, and we created a very fast production model that was awarded by, like, I don't know, like, I think TechCrunch was like, oh, fastest entertainment
Oh,
model like
that's
ever
sick.
made. And we are
oh
like,
sheesh.
cool. And that was cool that they wrote about us, like the
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
TechCrunch, like fast company. They caught on because we created quite a stir, like in our Web 2, the Web 2 side. We produce social entertainment. That means we created fictional characters on TikTok. So a universe of you know people, like actors that had each their own story, and they sometimes interconnected with each other, but it was all on TikTok. So TV shows set on TikTok. So we were used to producing very fast
Wow.
and a lot,
Dang.
and giving people basically uh, what they want or what they think they want, and uh, because we're insatiable. Also, as a generation, we're like super insatiable, and we want like content very
Mhm.
fast, and like we want to binge. And so we were kind of prepared for like a lot of content production. So that's actually not even the biggest struggle for us right now.
What is?
What is the biggest struggle? Um,
Mhm.
the biggest struggle for us pre-mint is when there is when there's a lot of projects and people are like in tens of discords, right? When
Yeah,
you
yeah.
when you are you're fighting for attention, like with projects that people have a financial incentive to like stick around for, right? Because they already
Mhm.
have the NFT. So right now for us, it's the retention. But I believe our biggest challenge long term will be to make sure the format that we created with people participating in the story, that we are improving constantly,
Yeah.
because we might be super wrong about the way that we're thinking about it right now with like giving one weekly prompt. Maybe it's not enough. Like we're seeing already that people kind of are wanting already something by Thursday. Like they don't want to wait until Friday. They want another video already on Thursday. So we
What
might
about
see
Twitter
that.
Spaces?
Yeah,
Like
we're
every
doing
day.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great to deploy some time to do Twitter Spaces every day, right? And
You could
and
have like
be
jocks. perhaps like
Yeah,
have their
and
own,
people
and then
like
just
get
a
on there and
mess hall.
interact. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be sick. I
That's a
seriously
really good
think that would be
idea. Why
like,
not? Why not?
like a school hours type like session of like a space. You could have it at like night
and we
or
and
during the day.
we can we can we can run it. No, I'm kidding.
You guys, I should invite you to the next brainstorming sesh with the team. The ideas are
Yeah,
Oh, I'd
good.
love that.
we'd love to.
Awesome.
Don't feel yeah. Don't feel like you have to. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. No worries
But
on that.
I mean, if you're being serious, yeah, I would definitely do that.
Yeah,
That's super cool. So yeah, Twitter Spaces are an interesting idea. And again, the problem with that will be like, okay, if you're not guiding people and giving them prompts and like story to work with, they would run out of story like very quickly if people are just like not storytellers themselves, and we can't expect people to be like very imaginative like constantly. So there has to be a professional like in the background who understands, okay, right now this is like close to the climax, so now we have to amp up the stakes. Okay, now
yeah.
it's like kind of like recession, like Dark Night of the Soul, like the character is like totally lost and like everything's lost, if
Hmm.
just like in
Yeah,
every
just
just like in
yeah.
every movie, like the reasons there's like better and like worse movies is also like a lot has to do with structure and like either fast paced and like well structured movies or TV shows, or a lack of that. So you cannot give it completely over to the community at this point, at least.
Yeah, and it would
Yeah.
probably be hard to coordinate with like all the people in one like space, everybody trying to like talk. And I mean,
Hmm.
like maybe you'd have to like pick like sides of like the hallway on where you're gonna stand, and that's like the space that you
Pick
get
a
into or
ringleader.
something like. Yeah, and or like somebody's space, so you could hang out in somebody's space, and they could just be hanging out by themselves doing some homework.
Just the losers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could just do some homework
You come in and
for
then you just
people.
make fun of them and you dip.
Yeah.
Those are that is, you have the vision, like you guys are understanding like the vision, and yes, if everything works out, when everything works out, that's exactly what we're going to see, that people will go off on their own and do branch off into creating their own stories and their own like clicks and add on lore that we'll be very happy to include, if voted on by the community on chain. So
So with
mhm.
lore, is that like pictures or like videos, or what is like an example of lore?
So it can be, right now what we've been doing is video, right? But who says that that is all you can do with visual manifestations? Why adapt something that is Web3 in a very classic Web2 kind of format, which is,
Damn. Okay. Preach.
you know,
That'd be
so
cool if you could have an extracurricular club you set up in the space or something too.
I'm
Like people
telling
into
you, like
music.
you guys are invited to the next brainstorming session. Like keep them coming. These are
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Hell yeah.
I actually have like an idea for Web3 and tying in like story modes to like how people could use them, but it's like really far fetched. And
Go
Let's
about
ahead.
hear
like
it.
Let's
the
hear it.
ways that like potentially with like VR you live in kind of like a place, and it's a certain setting, and you're just kind of in a harnessed room, and the VR headset and whatever guides you around, and you're harnessed in, so you can continuously like keep walking, but you're not actually going anywhere. You're within a room, and you kind of just can interact. You see people, and I guess like with that, it's kind of
It's
more of
so
an like an
advanced.
immersive experience. But like that is out of this world, like something next level that probably
Dude,
involves like
that'd be
millions and
fun.
billions of dollars with like
That'd be crazy,
crazy,
dude.
yeah, crazy
As soon as
graphics.
VR reaches mass adoption, so in entertainment,
Yeah,
like what? Not only why not? I would wish that would be already kind of in mass adoption.
Mm.
What
that'd be
we
so
believe
cool.
what we believe is more likely that AR is reaching mass adoption like way faster, and
Hmm.
actually we won't put on goggles, like and go into a world, but the world will kind of be already created like around us and will be projected
Right.
onto the walls, and it will feel like still very tangible, but it will the way that we see
Wow.
already like Pokemon Go, like very much
Adobe Acrobat.
yes, or people already using AR like with all the filters that we're using, right? And we don't even know necessarily or acknowledge that these are AR, but it
Hmm.
is, so it already is proven, showing more signs of mass adoption. So that is more like where we would bet on. But ultimately, whatever it is, that next kind of layer for entertainment is, I'm so excited for it. Like just like you guys.